I sat frozen in the conference room, watching my older brother Derek stand at the head of the table. His voice filled the space with confidence as he presented my project, my slides, my wording, my entire strategy, to the executives. Our mother sat in the corner, her eyes gleaming with pride. I had spent 3 months developing this marketing campaign, staying late every night, perfecting every detail. Now Derek clicked through my presentation like he had created it himself. When I opened my mouth to speak, he smoothly cut me off. "Emily helped with some details," he said, flashing that charming smile everyone loved. The executives nodded, scribbling notes. My hands trembled in my lap. I was Emily Carter, 28 years old, and I was disappearing right before my own eyes. The senior client, Mr. Thompson, leaned forward with interest. "This strategy is brilliant," he said. "Absolutely brilliant. I have just one question." He paused, looking between Derek and me. "Who actually led the strategic development?" The room went silent. I felt every eye turn toward us. My heart pounded so hard I thought everyone could hear it. This was my moment. I could tell the truth right now. But before I could gather the courage to speak, my mother's voice rang out. "Derek has always had such natural leadership skills," she announced proudly. "He really pulled this team together." She gestured vaguely in my direction. "Emily provided excellent support, of course. She's very detail-oriented." The words hit me like a slap. Support staff. That's what she was reducing me to. I looked around the table at my co-workers. Some wouldn't meet my eyes. Others nodded along with my mother's narrative. I felt myself shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller until I might vanish completely. Mr. Thompson smiled warmly at Derek. "Well, you should be very proud. This kind of strategic thinking is exactly what we need." He closed his folder with a decisive snap. "In fact, I'm prepared to say this project could secure a $15 million contract for your firm." The meeting ended with handshakes and congratulations. Everyone crowded around Derek while I gathered my laptop and notes. My hands shook as I packed my bag. $15 million. My project could bring in $15 million, and Derek would get all the credit. I waited until the room cleared, then cornered Derek in the hallway. "What the hell was that?" I demanded, keeping my voice low. "That was my project. You stole my work." Derek laughed, actually laughed like I had told a joke. "Stole? Come on, Em. Don't be so dramatic. We're a team." "A team? You didn't write a single slide. You barely understand the strategy." He shrugged, adjusting his expensive tie. "I presented it well, didn't I? That's what matters." My mother appeared beside us, her expression stern. "Emily, stop this right now. You should be grateful Derek included you. Stop trying to compete with your brother." She walked away, leaving me speechless. Derek leaned closer. "Besides, it doesn't matter now. I'm presenting the final pitch alone next month." I drove home in silence, my mind replaying every moment of the meeting. This wasn't new. This was a pattern I had lived with my entire life. I was the quiet one, the capable one, the invisible one. Derek was the golden child, praised for achievements he barely understood. When we were kids, I won the science fair. My mother told everyone Derek had helped me. When I graduated with honors, she talked about Derek's internship at her dinner parties. I had always told myself it didn't matter, that I knew my own worth. But watching him steal my work today, seeing how easily everyone believed him, hurt in a way I couldn't explain. The familiarity of it made everything worse. I should have been used to this by now. Instead, I felt raw and exposed. I checked my email before bed, not expecting anything important. But there was a new message from Mr. Thompson marked urgent. My pulse quickened as I opened it. The email contained a detailed technical question about the campaign's digital integration strategy. It was complex, requiring a deep understanding of the entire system I had built. I read it twice, my mind racing. Derek wouldn't be able to answer this. He didn't know the first thing about the back-end architecture. I sat at my kitchen table for an hour, staring at the screen. I could ignore it. Let Derek figure it out himself. But that wasn't who I was. I crafted a professional response, explaining the integration process clearly without claiming credit. I focused on the facts, the data, the strategy. I hit send at midnight. Mr. Thompson replied within 20 minutes, even though it was late. "Emily, this is exactly the depth of understanding I was hoping to see. Your grasp of this project is exceptional. I'd like to include you directly in all future communications." I read the message 3 times. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. "We need to talk. Now." He didn't wait for my response. My apartment door burst open. He still had the key from when he helped me move in. Derek stormed into my living room, his face red with anger. "What did you tell them?" he demanded. "What did you say to Thompson?" I stood my ground, crossing my arms. I answered his question. "That's all. You went behind my back. You tried to make me look incompetent." "I didn't have to try, Derek. You are incompetent. You stole my work." He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Listen to me very carefully. Do not embarrass me again. Do not undermine me. This is my career. It's my career too. My work. Your work." He laughed bitterly. "You work for the family company. Everything you do belongs to all of us." My phone rang. It was our mother. I put her on speaker. "Emily, Derek told me what you did. How dare you try to sabotage your brother? If you cause problems, you'll ruin this entire family. Do you understand me?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. Derek smiled grimly. "The final presentation is in 3 weeks. It's going to be live, in front of their entire board. High stakes. Don't screw this up for me." After they left, I sat in the darkness of my apartment. Something had shifted inside me. I wasn't going to disappear anymore. I opened my laptop and started gathering evidence. Timestamps on every document. Draft versions with my name in the metadata. Email chains showing my strategic development. File histories proving I had created every single element. I worked through the night, organizing everything into a clear timeline. The evidence was undeniable. I had originated every idea, developed every strategy, created every slide. Derek had contributed nothing except his name on the final presentation. I saved everything to 3 different cloud drives. I wasn't planning revenge. I wasn't planning anything yet. I just needed the truth documented where it couldn't be erased. As dawn broke, I realized something else. During the meeting, when Mr. Thompson asked about implementation challenges, Derek had fumbled. He had given a vague, generic answer. He didn't understand the core system at all. The next week, our team held a presentation rehearsal. Derek stood at the front, clicking through the slides with his usual confidence. Everything went smoothly until Mr. Thompson's assistant joined via video call to ask preliminary questions. "Can you explain how the automated response system integrates with the existing customer database?" she asked. Derek froze. His mouth opened and closed. He looked at the slide, then back at the camera. "Well, the integration is comprehensive." I watched him flounder, feeling a strange mixture of satisfaction and pity. "It uses standard protocols," he continued weakly. "Very efficient." The assistant frowned. "But specifically, how does it handle data migration?" Silence. Derek's confidence evaporated. After the call ended, he found me in my office. His arrogance was gone, replaced by something I had never seen before, fear. I need your help. I can't do this without you." I looked up from my computer. "I thought you led this project. Come on. You know how this works. I present, you support. That's the team. What's in it for me?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Shared credit. Later. After we secure the contract." I pretended to consider his offer, watching him squirm. Then I nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll help you." The relief on his face was almost comical. "Thank you. Seriously, thank you. We're going to crush this presentation. We'll need to practice. A lot. Whatever you need." Over the next few days, I coached Derek through every detail. I explained the systems, the strategy, the implementation timeline. He nodded and took notes, but I could see the information sliding off his brain like water off glass. He didn't have the foundation to understand it. He had never done the work. Meanwhile, I made sure to be calm and professional. I answered his questions patiently. I helped him practice his delivery. He thought this meant I was going back to my old role, quiet, supportive, invisible. But something had changed. I wasn't helping him out of fear anymore. I was doing it because I knew something he didn't. By making myself indispensable, I had actually taken control. Then the client sent an update. They were adding a live Q&A session to the presentation agenda. That evening, my mother invited herself to my apartment. She walked in without knocking, her designer handbag clutched tightly. "We need to talk about the presentation," she said, not bothering with pleasantries. "Okay. Derek is nervous. He says you've been helping him, which is good. That's what family does." I waited, knowing there was more. "But I need you to understand something, Emily." She sat down across from me, her eyes hard. "This is Derek's moment. His career is on the line. He's going to be a partner someday, maybe run the whole company. And me? You're valuable in your own way. But you need to stay in your lane. Don't try to steal his spotlight. Don't make yourself the center of attention. Her words were so familiar, so expected, that they almost didn't hurt anymore. Almost. Do you understand me? She pressed. If you embarrass your brother, if you try to take credit, you will regret it. Something inside me finally snapped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a quiet, clean break. I understand, I said softly. The next morning, I arrived at the office before anyone else. I pulled up the presentation files and began making refinements. Small improvements. Better data visualization. Clearer integration diagrams. More sophisticated technical language. I made the project stronger and significantly more complex. Derek wouldn't be able to explain half of it without detailed notes. I documented every change, every improvement, every technical detail. Then I practiced my own understanding of the material until I could present it in my sleep. I wasn't planning sabotage. I was simply making the project as good as it could be. If Derek couldn't keep up with excellence, that was his problem. 2 days before the presentation, I received an email from Mr. Thompson directly. Emily, given your technical expertise, would you be available to walk our board through the implementation improvements? I've noticed some sophisticated updates in the latest version. My finger hovered over the keyboard. This was it, the moment where I chose my path. I wrote a simple response. I'd be happy to. I'll prepare a technical overview. I CC'd Derek on the email. My phone rang within seconds. Derek's voice was frantic. What are you doing? Why did you accept that? He asked me a direct question. Was I supposed to refuse? Yes. You were supposed to defer to me. Tell him I'll handle it. I took a deep breath. Can you handle it, Derek? Can you explain the technical architecture? The integration protocols? The automated response systems? Silence on the other end. I thought so, I said quietly. Then you need to cancel. Tell them you're not available. Why would I do that? Because. He struggled for words. Because I'm asking you to. Please, Em. I'll make sure you get proper credit after the contract is signed. I promise. But if you do this now, you'll make me look bad. I thought about all the times I had made myself smaller for him. All the times I had stepped aside, stayed quiet, let him take credit. All the years of being invisible. I'm sorry, I said finally. I can't lie for you anymore. Emily, I'll be at the presentation. I'll answer any questions they ask me. But I won't cover for you. Not this time. I hung up before he could respond. The night before the presentation, Derek showed up at my apartment again. This time he looked genuinely scared, not angry. Please, he said. I'm begging you. Just don't do this. I looked at my older brother, really looked at him. He was 32, successful by every outward measure, but standing in my doorway like a frightened child. I'm not doing anything to you, I said. I'm just done hiding what I've done. You're going to humiliate me in front of everyone. No, you did that yourself when you stole my work. I didn't steal it. We work for the same company. It's complicated. It's actually very simple. I created this project. You presented it as yours. That's called theft. His shoulders sagged. What do you want? A promotion? More money? I can talk to Mom about getting you. I don't want anything from you, I interrupted. I just want to stop pretending. We stood in silence for a long moment. I'll be there tomorrow, I said finally. I'll be professional, but I won't lie about who did the work. He left without another word. The presentation day arrived cold and clear. I dressed carefully in my best suit, professional and confident. I arrived at the conference room early and set up my laptop with backup files. Derek came in 10 minutes before the meeting, looking pale. He avoided my eyes. The client's board filed in, 12 people, all senior executives. Mr. Thompson made introductions and Derek began presenting. He was smooth at first, hitting all the major points I had drilled into him. His natural charisma carried him through the overview sections. I sat quietly in the back watching. For 20 minutes, everything went according to plan. Derek spoke, the board members nodded, and I remained invisible. Then Mr. Thompson raised his hand. Let's open this up for questions, he said. I'm sure the board has some specific concerns. A woman in a sharp blazer spoke first. Can you explain the scalability framework? Specifically, how does the system handle exponential user growth? Derek's face went blank. He looked at his notes, then at the screen. The scalability it's built into the foundation. Very robust. The woman waited for more. When nothing came, she frowned. Could you be more specific about technical architecture? That's when Mr. Thompson looked directly at me. Emily, you handled the technical development. Would you mind addressing this? I stood up slowly, my heart pounding. This was my moment. Every head in the room turned toward me. I walked to the front, standing beside Derek. Of course, I said calmly. The scalability framework uses a microservices architecture with containerized deployment. Each service can scale independently based on demand, which means we can handle exponential growth without system-wide reconfiguration. I pulled up a detailed diagram on my laptop. We implemented load balancing across multiple servers, with automated scaling triggers when user traffic exceeds predetermined thresholds. The database uses sharding to distribute data across multiple instances, preventing bottlenecks. I spoke clearly, confidently, answering follow-up questions with specific technical details. No drama. No accusations. Just facts. The room was completely silent. When I finished, Mr. Thompson leaned back in his chair. That's remarkably sophisticated, he said. Thank you for that explanation. Then he looked between Derek and me. I have to ask, why weren't you introduced as a project lead earlier? The question hung in the air. I chose my words carefully. I developed the core strategy, technical architecture, and implementation framework over the past 3 months. Derek presented it in the initial meeting. I pulled up my laptop screen. I have documentation if you'd like to review the development timeline. I wasn't accusing anyone. I wasn't attacking Derek. I was simply stating facts supported by timestamps, emails, and file histories. Mr. Thompson's expression shifted. May I see that documentation? I handed him my tablet. He scrolled through it silently while the rest of the board waited. Derek stood frozen beside me. I could feel him wanting to interrupt, to explain, to salvage the situation. I think, Derek started. Mr. Thompson held up a hand. Please, let me finish reviewing this. He passed the tablet to the woman who had asked the scalability question. She reviewed it, her eyebrows rising. Then she passed it to the next board member. The tablet made its way around the entire table. I stood there calmly, my hands steady, while my entire professional future hung in the balance. Finally, Mr. Thompson spoke. I think we need to pause this presentation. Mr. Thompson stood up. Emily, would you mind joining me in the next conference room? I'd like to discuss some things privately. The words sent a jolt through the room. Derek's face went white. I can explain, Derek started. That won't be necessary right now, Mr. Thompson said firmly. We'll continue this shortly. I followed him and 2 other board members into the adjacent room. My phone was already buzzing in my pocket with incoming messages. I silenced it without looking. Once the door closed, Mr. Thompson's professional demeanor softened. Emily, I owe you an apology. We suspected something wasn't quite right about the initial presentation. The technical depth wasn't consistent with the strategic overview. I see, I said carefully. Frankly, we almost didn't move forward. But your email responses and this documentation tell a very different story. The woman from earlier spoke up. This is exceptional work. The kind of strategic thinking we rarely see, especially from someone your age. Mr. Thompson nodded. We'd like to offer you the leadership role on this project moving forward. You'll report directly to our VP of Innovation. Full project authority, commensurate compensation. I took a slow breath. What about Derek? That's actually what we wanted to discuss with you. I pulled my phone from my pocket. 7 missed calls from my mother. 12 text messages, each more frantic than the last. I turned it face down on the conference table. We need someone who understands this project at a fundamental level, Mr. Thompson continued. Someone who can execute and adapt as challenges arise. Based on what we've seen, that person is you. The board members watched me carefully. How would you like to handle the transition? The woman asked. We can structure this however it makes sense professionally. I thought about revenge, about public humiliation, about making Derek feel as small as he had made me feel. But that wasn't who I wanted to be. I'd prefer a professional restructure, I said. No public accusations or drama. The work speaks for itself. If Derek wants to remain involved in a supporting capacity, that's fine. But the leadership and credit should reflect reality. Mr. Thompson smiled. That's a very mature approach. I just want to do good work, I said honestly. Everything else is noise. We discussed terms for another 20 minutes. The compensation was more than double my current salary. The title was Senior Innovation Strategist. full project authority, my name on all deliverables. Finally, we returned to the main conference room. Derek was sitting exactly where I had left him, looking like he might be sick. My mother had somehow gotten into the building and was standing beside him, her expression thunderous. Mr. Thompson didn't waste time. We've made some decisions about the project structure moving forward. The room went silent. Emily will be taking over as project lead, reporting directly to me. She'll have full authority over strategy, implementation, and team structure. He looked at Derek. Derek, we appreciate your presentation skills, but it's clear the technical and strategic leadership needs to align with actual expertise. Derek opened his mouth, but no sound came out. My mother found her voice. This is absurd. Derek brought this project to you. He developed the relationship. He presented well, Mr. Thompson agreed. But he didn't create the work. Emily did. And in our organization, we recognize actual contribution, not just presentation. This is a family business issue, my mother protested. This is a $15 million contract, Mr. Thompson said firmly. We invest in competence, not family politics. He turned to me. Emily, we'll have contracts ready by tomorrow. Welcome to the leadership team. Derek finally spoke. You did this on purpose. You sabotaged me. No, I said quietly. I just stopped hiding. The meeting ended with handshakes and congratulations, directed at me this time. Board members introduced themselves, asking technical questions, discussing timeline expectations. I answered each one clearly, professionally. Derek left without a word. My mother stayed behind, watching me with an expression I couldn't read. When the room cleared, she approached me slowly. I hope you're proud of yourself, she said, her voice cold. Destroying your brother's career. Tearing this family apart. For years, those words would have destroyed me. But standing there in my new role, with validation from people who actually understood my work, they felt hollow. I didn't destroy anything, I said. I just stopped pretending. You made him look like a fool. He made himself look like a fool when he stole my work. She stepped closer. You've always been jealous of Derek. Always trying to compete with him. This is just your petty revenge. I picked up my laptop bag. No, Mom. This is me finally refusing to be invisible. Don't you walk away from me. But I did. I walked out of that conference room, out of that building, into the afternoon sunlight. My phone was still buzzing with messages. I ignored them all. That evening, I sat in my apartment surrounded by boxes. I had made a decision during the drive home. I was moving out of the building Derek had helped me find, away from the neighborhood where my mother could drop by unannounced. I was building a life that was actually mine. My mother showed up around 8, using the key I hadn't realized she still had. We need to talk about this, she announced, walking into my living room. You need to call Mr. Thompson and decline that position. I continued packing books into boxes. No. Emily, listen to me. You're being selfish. Derek's entire career is at stake. His reputation was built on my work, I interrupted. And I'm done supporting that lie. It's not a lie. It's family. It's loyalty. I finally looked at her. Where was your loyalty to me? Where was your pride in my work? She blinked, genuinely confused by the question. I've always been proud of you. You're very capable. You told a room full of executives that I was support staff. You were being dramatic. I was smoothing things over. You were erasing me. We stared at each other across my half-packed living room. If you go through with this, you'll tear this family apart, she said. Then maybe it needed to be torn apart. She left without another word. I moved out over the weekend. My new apartment was smaller but entirely mine. No spare keys, no unexpected visitors. I set up my home office with care, creating a space that felt professional and personal. Monday morning, I arrived at the client's headquarters for my first day as senior innovation strategist. I had my own office, my own team, my own projects. The silence in my life was strange at first. No calls from my mother. No texts from Derek. No family obligations or Sunday dinners. But the silence was also freeing. I could think clearly. I could work without looking over my shoulder. I could be myself without apologizing. My first paycheck arrived 2 weeks later. It was more money than I had ever made. I stared at the direct deposit notification for a long time, feeling something shift inside my chest. This was mine. I had earned it. Nobody could take it away. That evening, my phone rang. Derek's name appeared on the screen. I almost declined the call, but curiosity won out. Hello. It's me." His voice sounded different, smaller somehow. "I know." There was a long pause. I could hear Derek breathing on the other end of the line. "I wanted to apologize," he said finally. "For everything. For taking credit. For how I treated you." I waited, letting him continue. "I've been thinking a lot these past few weeks. About how I built my career. About what that cost." He laughed bitterly. "Turns out, when you can't actually do the work, people figure it out pretty quickly." "What happened?" I asked, despite myself. "Mom got me reassigned to a different department. Something she could supervise more closely. It's humiliating." He paused. "But I deserve it." "Yes," I said. "You do." I convinced myself that I was the leader because I presented well. That the ideas didn't matter as much as the delivery. But I was wrong. I was using you. "I know. I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Not because I got caught, but because I hurt you. Because I took something precious from you, your recognition, your voice, and I treated it like it meant nothing." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Thank you for saying that. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I did." We talked for another hour. Not like siblings competing for scraps of approval, but like two people trying to be honest. Over the next few months, Derek and I built a new relationship, one based on boundaries and honesty. He didn't ask for favors. I didn't offer to cover for him. We met for coffee occasionally, carefully navigating our new dynamic. My mother was a different story. She called once, demanding I help restore Derek's reputation. I declined. She accused me of holding grudges. I hung up. Eventually, we reached an uneasy truce. I saw her at holidays, maintained polite distance, but never let her back into my inner life. Some relationships, I learned, were healthier at arm's length. Derek surprised me by putting in actual work to rebuild his skills. He took courses, read extensively, and admitted when he didn't know things. He would never be the golden child again, but maybe he could become something better, genuine. One Tuesday morning, 6 months after everything changed, I walked into my office at the client headquarters. My name was on the door. My team was waiting with questions about our latest project. Mr. Thompson had scheduled a meeting to discuss expanding my role. I sat down at my desk, looking out at the city below, and felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Not happiness exactly. Life was still complicated, relationships were still messy. But peace. The quiet satisfaction of knowing my work was mine. The $15 million contract didn't just succeed. It exceeded every projection. The client expanded the scope twice, brought us onto 3 additional projects, and mentioned my name specifically in their annual report. I built a team of talented people who actually cared about the work. We innovated, experimented, and occasionally failed, but we did it honestly. I never had to hide my contributions again. I learned something important through all of this. I didn't need revenge. I never had. Revenge would have meant tearing Derek down, humiliating him publicly, making him suffer. But that wasn't what healed me. What healed me was finding the courage to stop shrinking. To stop making myself smaller so others could feel bigger. To stop apologizing for being good at what I did. The day I stood up in that conference room and answered technical questions wasn't about destroying my brother. It was about refusing to disappear. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is simply tell the truth. My career flourished. My relationships improved. My life finally felt like it belonged to me. I still see my name on projects, on presentations, on contracts worth millions of dollars. But the real victory wasn't the recognition or the money. It was the knowledge that I would never again let someone else define my worth. I was Emily Carter, and I was finally completely visible.